It's your favorite girl, Tyler Nicole Taylor, GNT, if you love me. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for coming back. If you are, a subscriber or whatever like that, appreciate you, boo. And if you're not, guess what? You can go ahead and subscribe too. Go ahead. I'll wait. Okay, now that you subscribed. So this video is just another installment of my trying to conceive, making baby brown journey. And I really felt like it was very important for me to share this part of my journey with you, because it's more common than you think. A lot of women have experienced what I have, or even worse. And yes, babe, there's a worse, okay? So I decided to put on my brave face and share it with you because I already wanted you guys to come along for the journey anyway, and this is a part of it. Before we get started, I do want to make a quick announcement. I want this in the beginning of the video because it's important, because I know people don't always watch to the end. Okay. But I want you guys to know that I truly, truly appreciate any of you that sent us, my husband and I, any type of congratulatory messages, who wished us, nothing but blessings and told us how much our situation was a blessing and all of that prior to learning out this information. I want you to understand that I 100% received all of those messages with joy. I did. I know sometimes people are afraid to comment on folks' photos or videos and things like that because of how we disseminate information. And the reason why I did not lead with the fact that I experienced an ectopic pregnancy is because as I was recording this, I was recording it as it was happening. And I wanted to make sure all of that content went out. And because this is a journey, I wanted you guys to kind of get a sense of what it felt like in real time for us. So that's why when I got the congratulatory messages, even though by then I already had my surgery, which we will talk about in a few minutes, I still felt loved. I still felt all of your feelings, and I know that stuff was very genuine, and I really appreciate all of you who wished us congratulatory messages and blessings and things of that nature. So it did not go unnoticed. I do not feel any type of way, and I definitely was not trying to do anything to set you up to make you say congratulations just for me to pull the rug from under you. No, I just was trying to get you guys to see this experience the way we did. And sometimes life pulls the rug from under you. But you gotta smile and keep going, because that's how you win. So thank you to all of you. I really appreciate you, and I really, really do love all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching that long vlog and seeing the pregnancy test being positive and seeing our reaction and, just following along on that vlog, because that vlog was long. So thank you for watching that. And thank you for all of the beautiful messages you sent. I really, really, truly appreciate you. I know I said that a million times, but if I could say it a million more, I would, because that's how much I mean it. So thank you. Okay, so hopefully you had the opportunity to check out the video that was released on Wednesday, and that was our first ultrasound. The reason why that is important, because the same day that we had our first ultrasound was the same day that I had surgery, basically. So I went down there to my appointment expecting to get my first ultrasound, and I left without a left fallopian tube. So yeah, that was a heck of a day, and we're going to talk about it. So I have talked about this in my vlog video, the long one that I previously mentioned, and I also addressed what an ectopic pregnancy was in my video on Wednesday. But if you just so happen to not have the opportunity to see those videos before seeing this one, we're gonna explore that. So an ectopic pregnancy is a pregnancy that occurs outside of the uterus, but at any given time, your fallopian tubes apparently can get blocked for whatever reason. And I guess that's what happened to me in my case. My pregnancy actually occurred in my left fallopian tube which is also referred to sometimes as a tubal pregnancy. Last year when I had my miscarriage, I was able to pass everything through just fine, and there was no, like, we didn't see anything alarming in my fallopian tube last year when I had the miscarriage. So the coast was clear, had my ultrasound. I kept on doing, what I was supposed to do, like the doctor told me to, which was go and get my levels checked and all of that, and it was going down. So, and it was going down, I guess, in enough of a time for them not to feel alarmed. So we were fine. We were cool. Coast was clear. Let's just start with the ultrasound itself. So you saw the video. You saw us go down there. And unfortunately, my camera cut off uh, before John got a chance to let you guys know that there was no sac in my uterus. And he did. I watched him say that to the camera, but unfortunately, the camera wasn't recording. So sorry. And that's why I had to put the little message at the end of the video. So basically, just picking up from where we left off, they confirmed during my ultrasound that there was no sac or no sign of a sac in my uterus, which wasn't surprising because, guys, as you guys know, I mentioned the bleeding, I mentioned the spotting, I mentioned that I was kind of like on the fence on whether it was really still a sac in there or not. When they do the ultrasound, they look all over the place. My nurse went straight for a transvaginal ultrasound instead of on top of the belly. She checked, she didn't see anything in the uterus, and she kind of looked towards the fallopian tube area to try to see what she can see, but she didn't say anything. All she said was that she was going to get the ultrasound specialist to come in. The specialist noticed something in my left fallopian tube. After the ultrasound specialist confirmed that there was something in my fallopian tube, she wanted me to go to LabCorp after my appointment and get my levels checked. We got into the parking lot of LabCorp, and my doctor's office called me and said, "Hey, are you still around? We actually want you to go to the emergency room. We want them to confirm if you are having an ectopic pregnancy or not." And so I was like, yeah, just made it back to my side of town, and that's about an hour away. And she was like, "Oh, wow, really?" And at this point, they were about to close in 45 minutes. So we had to rush back down the hill, grab the lab work from my doctor's office. They tried to stay open a little bit later, a couple of minutes later for me. So we got there like 4:55, and they closed at 5 p.m. And I got there just in time. And luckily, they had my paperwork with the receptionist. So as soon as I walked in, she was like, "Oh, here you go." And I was able to grab it and go right across the street. Now, this is where I'm going to talk about being pregnant during this pandemic. But I'll give you the short of it all. There was a line outside that was 6 feet away from the door, and next to the line is hand sanitizer, and they make everybody hand sanitize before they even are allowed to walk through the door. And the security guard sits at the door to prevent anybody from walking in. So the first thing they ask you is what you coming there for, and I told them that my doctor's office sent me over here, blah, blah, blah. And so then after that, they take you, you hand sanitize, they take you in, you do your little quick registration with where they take your ID and plug in all your vital information. They do your vitals as well, blood pressure and all of that. And then once that is over, then another person will escort you. This is what happened to me in Palm Springs. Another person will escort you to the ER annex. So that's what we have going on. We have like a trailer that is separate from the hospital. It's not attached to the hospital at all. And that's where they put the non-COVID patients, basically, that are there for your typical ER type of things. That was kind of refreshing. I actually did appreciate that because I was very nervous about going to the ER during this whole situation. So by the time we finish doing all that and I get into the ER annex, I then, of course, have to do what you always do, pee in a cup. pee in a cup, and then, excuse me, I had to sit in like this little cubicle once they called my name. I had to sit in this little cubicle and wait for the doctor to come and do a quick little check up on me and ask me questions and stuff like that to try to really understand what I'm in there for. And I probably waited about 10 to 15 minutes for the doctor to get there. And mind you, the doctors are working inside of the hospital, so they have to leave the hospital to come to to outside to the annex to see us. So it takes a little time for them to get to us. But 15 minutes, that wasn't a terrible amount of time to wait. So my doctor at that time, the ER doctor, he basically pressed on my stomach, and he asked me a bunch of questions, all the necessary questions that go down. He pressed on my stomach and asked me if I was in pain, and he pressed in like 4 different places. And of course, 2 of the places were where your fallopian tubes are. And I didn't feel any pain, you guys. I felt nothing, like I was fine. And then after that, I had to wait in the emergency room annex for a little while because they said, okay, the next thing we're gonna do is have you do an ultrasound. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I had to wait, but because I already knew they were gonna need to do my HCG levels, I already knew they were gonna take my blood. So they took my blood while I was waiting for my turn to go see the ultrasound specialist at the hospital. So went there. Once that was done, that probably took about, it felt like probably an hour. Probably was an hour, a little over an hour that I waited. So probably somewhere between 6:30 and 7 o'clock p.m. I've made it into the hospital to get my ultrasound. And in order to go to the hospital to go to the special whatever room you needed to go to, they have an escort that comes and gets you. And in my ultrasound, that lasted pretty long. And again, she did both types of ultrasounds, and it lasted for a long time. It felt like, oh my gosh. But she was getting a lot of pictures, and I was just like, you know what? I need you to get us whatever you need to get, because that's what we're here to find out. We're here to make sure we know what we know. So I need you to get everything you need to get. So I'm going to be patient and do whatever the heck you ask me. And I was escorted back to the ER annex. At this time, I'm freaking starving, y'all, because I haven't eaten, okay? Have not had anything. So, mind you, I forgot to mention that prior to me going to the emergency room, my doctor's office said, they'll be able to treat you there immediately if it is an ectopic pregnancy. So that's why we want you to go ahead and go. And she said, normally there's a medicine that you take. So that's why I know about the medicine. So I'm thinking, all right, they're just checking to make sure that this is ectopic. And then they're going to come back in a few to let me know that, hey, here's your prescription or here's your pill to go ahead and take this, and whatever the side effects are that they were supposed to, I thought they were going to warn me about them and I was going to be on my way. But it didn't go down like that. So I'm waiting some more in the ER annex at this point because it's after the ultrasound, and nothing. Now, at this point, they had a shift change, and the new nurses in the ER are trying to get familiar with who's all in there. And because I'm in there chilling, again, not in pain, I don't physically look like I'm in any type of pain. I'm not sitting and looking like I'm sitting all uncomfortably. I'm just there. Okay? So she comes to me and she's all like, hey, I'm going to see about trying to get you guys out of here as soon as possible, blah, blah, blah. Did they tell you anything? I was like, no, I just did an ultrasound and I haven't heard anything since. I just kind of just been sitting here. She was like, okay, well, let me find out what's going on. So she goes back to her computer, does some click, clacking, and does not come back to talk to me. And so I didn't think anything of it because I just assumed that she was just waiting for the doctor to come and talk to me anyway. Because a lot of times the nurses don't want to give out information before the doctor gets a chance to talk to you. So I was just trying to respect the protocol, and just being patient and just trying not to be a nuisance. Meanwhile, all this is going on. My husband is in the parking lot because he's not allowed to be with me at any point at all. So he's sitting in the parking lot. No one else is allowed in the hospital besides the actual patients or the ER annex. So that's what the rules are right now. They don't care what it is you're going through, pregnant or not. that's the situation. So yeah, my husband's in the parking lot, and I'm just trying to update him via text as much as possible, or if I get a chance to talk to him on the phone, I do. And at this point, I'm now updating my mom via text as well, because it's like my mom and my dad and my brother have my location, and if they see I'm at the hospital, they're gonna trip. So I was like, let me just at least tell my mama what's going on. So I told her what was going on. She was up to date. My mother-in-law was up to date via my husband. So my phone was about to die and I was hungry. So my husband was like, well, do you want me to go get you something to eat? I'm going to get you a charger, blah, blah, blah. He did all that. So he got me some McDonald's because I had been fiending for McDonald's for a while. And I have not, I feel like I haven't had McDonald's in like a year almost at this point, which I think is true. Still is true because I did not get a chance to eat my food. And here's why. So my husband was like, are they going to let me bring food to you? So I was like, you know what? Let me ask the nurse. Mind you, this is the same nurse that asked me, that said, oh, girl, I'm going to see if I can try to get you out, and never came back. So I was like, hey, girl, my husband is here. He's been waiting in the parking lot, and he wanted to know if he can bring me some food because he went and got me something to eat. And I was like, because I hadn't had anything to eat all day since, or, this morning. And she was like, um, well, see, the thing is, I'm not sure if you're going to have surgery or not. So I don't think it's safe for you to eat. I was like, wait, what? Surgery? I'm thinking I'm just getting some medicine, boo. What you mean surgery? And she's like, yeah, we've been waiting for a bed for you this whole time. Mind you, I kept on hearing her say, this one's waiting for a bed. I thought she was talking about the other pregnant lady, because the other pregnant lady, she was in such miserable pain from sitting down because she was hurting, and she kept on saying, I just need to lay down. So I thought the bed was for her. Y'all, the bed whole time was for me. So yeah, that's how I found out that I was possibly getting surgery that night. And I'm like, what? So does that mean I'm gonna have to stay in the hospital? Now I'm really terrified because now my husband can't stay with me for sure, because he couldn't even be in here with me waiting. So I know he ain't gonna be able to stay with me in the hospital. So I'm gonna have to be in the freaking hospital overnight by myself. This is trash. Like I just was like, oh man, this sucks. And I'm hungry. Like, are they gonna feed me? And then if they do, it's probably gonna be nasty, man. That's how I felt. I was like going through a whole bunch of things on the inside of my head, but I had to keep myself calm, cool, calm, collected, and keep my composure together because they did let my husband bring me my charger. So that worked out because your girl was on like 14%. Like it was getting really bad in there. And then it was talking about surgery. I'm like, I can't lose contact with my husband. Like I'm not gonna make it through the night if I can't even like FaceTime him. Like this isn't gonna work. So got my charger plugged up, and after I plugged up, probably 10 minutes later, the doctor that I had saw earlier that day came to talk to me, and he let me know that it was a possibility that I was going to have surgery. He said it was looking like 9 times out of 10 I'm going to have surgery, and that they had to remove the growth that's in my fallopian tube. So the way he said it made it sound like part of my fallopian tube was going to be removed, not the whole thing, or just that part where the growth was at. And I was like, okay, all right. Now, here's the reason why. It's like you kind of have no choice but to go along with it. Here's the thing. Ectopic pregnancies can be very deadly to the mom. The pregnancy itself is not viable, so it won't turn into a baby. And if it's not taken care of, it can rupture on the inside of you, which can cause internal bleeding, and you can bleed to death from the inside out. Now, there is an emergency surgery that can happen if someone does end up with a ruptured fallopian tube due to an ectopic pregnancy. There is, if they catch it fast enough, they can prevent you from dying. That's how serious ectopic pregnancies are. And that's why it is necessary for your fallopian tube to be removed, because it's like, I can't hold on to it because it's not going to just, shrivel up and go away. So it's like, I got to pick one here, life or death, basically. And life means I have to give up some of my fallopian tube. Well, all right, that's what we're going to have to do. So I got that information, and after he left, I then had to share that information with my husband and my mom. I am waiting because now I know that I'm going to have to get a bed because I'm getting surgery. So I'm waiting. The next nurse, a different nurse, comes to me and says that she needs to take more blood. And I'm like, ah, crap. Okay, mind you, I still have this big old cotton thing on on my left arm from when they took it earlier. Took blood from me earlier. So, and they took a lot of blood from me earlier too, mind you. So anyway, um, she's like, yeah, I gotta get some more blood. I'm like, okay. So she tries to go with this arm, and she got as much as she could out of this poor little arm. This arm is too through. I don't think it got anything left. So that meant they had to then. She got what she could get from me, and she left me alone. So the nurse that I talked to that told me that I probably was gonna have to have surgery before the doctor got a chance to talk to me. Yeah, her. She was like, yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to take some more blood from you. So this is the third time that I'm now having to sit back in this chair to get blood taken from me, and now she's gonna have to go from the arm that they already took it from. Luckily, she didn't go back in the same exact hole, but she went pretty darn close. So that kind of sucked. But they also started my IV line while I was in the annex as well. So they did as much as they possibly could do inside of the annex to prepare me so that they don't have to do too much when I get in the hospital. So I get to the hospital probably an hour after sitting in the annex with a needle in my arm. And then from that point, I then wait about another 45 minutes inside of the hospital before my surgery. But prior to that, I finally got a chance to talk to my doctor. She was actually delivering a baby, which is why it took her so long to get a chance to get to me. So she was in surgery delivering a baby at the time. And that's why I had to wait, so long before I got a chance to chat with her. And when she came to talk to me, so check it out. I went from thinking I was going to have to just take a tablet to force a miscarriage, deal with some cramps, and be done with it, to finding out that, oh no, we're actually going to have to take some of your fallopian tube, to then learning, girl, we got to take the whole thing. And I was just like, ugh. At that point, I felt even more like it was like, you just keep getting more and more deflated. That's how I felt. I was just like, oh, MG. Okay. So I have to tell my husband this. I have to tell my mom this. I have to deal with all the questions that's going to come from them on top of everything that I'm already going through, which is why it's like I have to put on this brave face because I got to answer questions for my loved ones. So anyway, so after all of that, I change into the gown and I'm sitting in this area, this like main little hub where a bunch of nurses are, which I felt like was the safest place for me, and I was away from other patients and stuff like that. I get wheeled back, and I finally get my bed, and I'm on the bed, and she does the little saline hookup to my IV. Like, everybody was really super duper freaking nice. Like, I'm not gonna lie. They were very nice. They were very comforting. Everyone has such great bedside manner, from the folks in the annex to the folks in surgery and all of that. Everybody was just great. So then about 11:50 something, they take me back, put me on that operating table, and then they hooked me up, and it was a wrap. I went to sleep, and then I woke up. So come to find out, they did call my husband because they asked for his phone number and all that. They knew he was in the parking lot waiting, so they did call my husband as soon as they put me in surgery. The nurse called him to let him know that I'm in surgery, and they're doing their thing now. And he said it probably took about 20 to 25 minutes for them to call him back to say that I was out and that I had just woke up, and that they were going to call him back again to let him know when to come to the front of the hospital to pick me up. So when I woke up, I actually did not feel, I can't say that I was in any pain when I woke up. Nothing really hurt. And they were chatting with me and they're saying how well everything went, and that they notified my husband and that he's going to be rolling around in a minute and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, and you get to go home, which ordinarily, when you have that type of a surgery, they typically like for you to stay at least one night. But because of this pandemic, they try to release people as early as they possibly can because, as one of the nurses put it, the hospital is the most dangerous place for anyone right now. So they didn't want myself with my compromised immune system to stay in the hospital if I didn't need to. And because I was doing so well after surgery and my vitals were great, they felt comfortable releasing me and allowing me to go home. They definitely told me what to do for the next 2 weeks. But y'all, I was high. I don't know what they said. Luckily, they told my husband, so he knew too. And basically, it was very simple instructions. Um, Basically, stay off your feet for the most part and rest for 2 weeks. And also for that 2 week duration, no sex, and you can't lift anything heavier than, no, you can't lift anything 25 pounds or heavier. Monday and Tuesdays is off days, so this was one of the days that he was already off. So luckily, I had 2 days of him being able to help me and wait on me, basically hand and foot all day. Help me go, help me get out the bed so I can go to the bathroom and stuff like that. So that was very helpful. I will say trying to walk was a little difficult as the days progressed because, like I said, directly after surgery, I wasn't in any pain. The next morning, still really wasn't in any pain per se. It was like my body was sore. My insides were kind of sore as well, but it was just more so just sore. It wasn't like it didn't hurt. You know, like when you work out and your muscles feel sore afterwards. It felt like that kind of sore. You know what I'm saying? So that's not something that, as an adult, if you've ever worked out before, you identify as like some type of severe pain. It's just like a nagging kind of hurt. So that's kind of what that was. I actually didn't really start feeling any pain until the days, the week progressed, and the pain came from like laying uncomfortably in the bed. It'll put pressure on certain parts that didn't need no pressure. Or if I sneezed, that hurt. It felt like where they removed the fallopian tube, it actually felt like it would burn right there if I sneezed, because I didn't realize how much of your lower abdominal area you use when you sneeze, laugh, pick things up, pull your pants up or pull your covers over you. I didn't realize how much lower abdominal work goes into that. So trying to do just normal stuff kind of would trigger some of the pain. But for the most part, it didn't hurt that bad. Like, it wasn't really that bad. It was just more so of a sore type of thing. Walking was it was only painful if I tried to walk too fast. So I had to walk slow and kind of do this waddle thing and kind of hunch over like a little old lady. That's how I walked for the first like almost week. Right now it is actually Wednesday, but you'll be seeing this on Friday. So by next Monday, it'll be 2 weeks. So that'll be a good thing. And I feel so much better. I'm so much more mobile now. I am being very careful though in not picking things up that's too heavy. Like, we're not doing that. I'm not rushing that because your girl wants to continue this journey, okay? Now, speaking of continuing this journey, this is what you really, really, really want to know. Now, the thing about an ectopic pregnancy, if you have to lose one fallopian tube, that's okay, because you only need one to help you conceive in the first place. You only need just the one. That's great. We are blessed because we still have the opportunity to naturally conceive. My doctor actually said she took a look at my right fallopian tube and she said it looked just fine. So she told me that in about 2 months, we can start actually trying to conceive again. Now, yes, 2 weeks before you get a chance to have sex again, but 2 months before actually starting to try to conceive. So keep that in mind. That means being safe for 2 months and then go ahead and shoot the club up. That's basically what that means, okay? So we will be trying again this year as soon as possible. As soon as that 2-month mark is reached, we're going to go ahead and start it again, okay? We're going to get this party started. So that was my wild, crazy ride on how I went in for my ultrasound and left without a fallopian tube, okay? All right, wild and crazy ride that day. It felt like a long month in one day. I ain't gonna lie. But that was my story. And believe it or not, there are a lot of women who have a story very similar to mine. And yes, like I said, my story could have been worse. There are women that have passed because they didn't know that they had an ectopic pregnancy going on inside of their body. And there are women who, you know, had an internal rupture because of it. So that's how things could have been worse. And I'm blessed that it wasn't that wasn't part of my story. So while it does suck and it was very weird and hard to process all by myself because, pandemic, um, I'm still blessed and I'm still happy and I still appreciate everyone who's had beautiful things to say about my previous videos and the fact that we were pregnant. So there was absolutely a sack in there, it just was in the wrong spot. I'm sharing this video because I feel like there's not enough personal content out there where you get to experience this. You basically get to go along with me, and that has been my goal with this journey in the first place. And there's ups and downs to this journey, and it's very real. Like, I know a lot of people are like to try to be encouraging and don't want to invite any negative ideas or thought processes into things. And I understand that and I appreciate that. And I think it's important for me to share this with you guys because I want to be as genuine and open as possible. Of course, I'm going to be protective with certain things because, I mean, hello, I am a human being that has some privacy about myself. My main point about sharing this, though, is the same thing I've been driving home since my vlog from the very first long vlog is go see your doctor. Because if I wouldn't have kept up with my appointments and did what I was supposed to do, I never would have known that I was experiencing a tubal pregnancy. Never would have known. And I could have put myself in danger. I could have put my life in danger if I didn't stay consistent. If I would have just assumed that I had a miscarriage and be like, I had a miscarriage, I don't need to go to the doctor and pay that copay, I could have got jacked up. So go to your doctor. I don't care if you think you experienced a miscarriage. I don't care if you think you saw the sac pass through. Go to your doctor to make sure that everything inside is doing what it's supposed to do, okay? If you enjoyed this video, if it educated you in any way, if it made you feel less alone, or if it just was something that was interesting for you to watch, then please go ahead and like this video. Hit that little like button. And if you enjoyed me, your girl, you can go ahead and subscribe as well. I would really appreciate that. And if you have a similar story or if you know of a similar story and you just want to share some encouraging words, please leave a comment down below with your encouraging stories because other people read it and it helps them. It helps me, but it's going to help other people too. And I mean, come on. Isn't that what we're here to do anyway? I know that's what I'm here to do. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys following along on this journey with us. The journey continues though, boo. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't gonna stop. We gonna get these babies, okay? Okay.